Alex borrowed $3 million to buy an apartment building in Phoenix. He put down nothing, zero. Within 18 months, he pulled out $400,000 in cash, still owned the building, and technically owned more than he started with. He didn't get lucky. He didn't flip it. He barely lifted a finger. This isn't a scam. It's math, very specific math, and it only works if one equation holds true. Most people think debt makes you poor. That's correct for most people. But there's a version of reality where debt does the opposite, where borrowing money creates wealth faster than earning it ever could. The difference comes down to 4 numbers and whether you can make them line up. Stay with me because in about 3 minutes, I'm going to show you the exact equation that separates people who build wealth from people who destroy it. And the answer isn't what you think. Let's rewind. Alex didn't wake up one day and decide to gamble on real estate. He noticed something that most people miss because they're too busy thinking debt is dangerous. Here's what he saw. Money is cheaper than assets. That sentence sounds obvious until you realize what it actually means. The cost to borrow money, the interest rate, was sitting at around 6%. The return on certain assets, specifically rental properties in growing metros, was closer to 12% when you factored in rent, appreciation, and tax benefits. 6 versus 12, that's the equation. If you can borrow at 6 and earn at 12, you're not just making money on your own capital, you're making money on someone else's, the bank's, and you get to keep the difference. This is called leverage, and it's the reason some people get extraordinarily rich while others work their entire lives and retire with almost nothing. But leverage is not a hack, it's a knife. In the right hands, it builds empires. In the wrong hands, it destroys everything. And here's the part that nobody talks about. The same move that made Alex $200,000 in year 1 could have bankrupted him in year 2. I'll explain why in a moment. Let's break it down with real numbers. No jargon, just the mechanics. Alex finds a 12-unit apartment building listed at $3 million. It generates $20,000 a month in rent. That's $240,000 a year. Subtract property taxes, insurance, maintenance, vacancies, you're left with roughly $120,000 in net income. That's a 4% cash-on-cash return if he paid in full. Not terrible, not exciting. But Alex doesn't pay in full. He borrows the entire $3 million at 6% interest. His annual debt service, the amount he owes the bank each year, is around $180,000. Wait, that's more than the building makes. Correct. On paper, this deal loses money every single month, $60,000 a year in the red. So why did Alex do it? This is where it gets interesting, because what looks like a terrible deal on the surface is actually how millionaires are made. Watch this. Because real estate doesn't just generate rent, it appreciates. In Phoenix, property values were climbing at roughly 8% annually. On a $3 million building, that's $240,000 in appreciation per year. Suddenly, the math changes. He's losing $60,000 in cash flow, but gaining $240,000 in equity. Net position up $180,000, and he didn't use his own money. Now add this. The IRS lets him deduct mortgage interest, depreciation, and operating losses. That $60,000 loss, it shields other income from taxes. If Alex is in the 35% bracket, that's another $20,000 in tax savings. Total annual gain, $200,000 on $0 invested. This is how leverage creates wealth. You're not working for money. Money is working for you. Borrowed money. But before you run out and try this yourself, you need to understand the one thing that makes this entire equation collapse, because it happens faster than you think. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. That equation, borrow at 6, earn at 12, only works if the 12 holds, if appreciation slows, if rents drop, if interest rates rise and he has to refinance at 9% instead of 6, the whole thing inverts. Suddenly, Alex isn't making $200,000 a year,
He's losing 100,000, and unlike a stock you can sell in 10 seconds, real estate is slow, illiquid. If the market turns, you can't just get out. You're stuck, holding a depreciating asset, bleeding cash, still owing the bank. And if you can't make the payments, the bank takes the building. You lose everything. Except you didn't lose your own money because you never put any in. You lost the opportunity, the time, the credit, the future deals you could have done. Leverage amplifies everything, gains and losses. It doesn't care which. This is why most people are told to avoid debt, because for most people, the equation doesn't work. They borrow at 18% on a credit card to buy something that depreciates, a car, a vacation, a flat screen. The math goes the wrong direction immediately. But the people who understand the equation don't avoid debt. They hunt for situations where the spread is wide, where borrowed money costs less than the return it generates. They're not scared of debt, they're scared of bad debt. And if you think this is just about real estate, stick around, because this same pattern is happening right now at every level of the economy, from your mortgage to how entire corporations operate. Let's zoom out, because this isn't just about Alex and his apartment building. This is how the entire financial system works. Corporations borrow billions at 4% to buy back stock that returns 10%. Governments borrow at near zero to fund infrastructure that generates economic growth. Hedge funds borrow against portfolios to double down on winning positions. Even your mortgage is leverage. You borrow $500,000 at 7% to buy a house that might appreciate at 4%. On paper, you're losing money, but you get to live in it, and inflation slowly makes that debt cheaper in real terms. The rich didn't get rich by saving, they got rich by borrowing correctly. But here's the tension. Leverage only works in a growing economy, when assets go up, when inflation is moderate, when interest rates stay low. The moment that changes, the math breaks, and it breaks fast. In 2008, millions of people were using leverage to buy homes they couldn't afford. The equation worked until it didn't. Housing prices fell. Suddenly, people owed more than their homes were worth. Foreclosures, defaults, collapse. Leverage didn't cause the crisis. Misapplied leverage did. The same tool that builds wealth can erase it, and the line between the two is thinner than most people think. Which brings me to the uncomfortable question nobody wants to answer. Who actually gets to use this tool safely? The answer might surprise you. So who should use leverage? People who understand the equation, people who can handle the risk, people who have other income, other assets, other ways to survive if the deal goes sideways. Alex could afford to lose. He had cash reserves, he had other properties, he had time to wait out a downturn. Most people don't. And that's the uncomfortable part. Leverage is a wealth-building tool, but it's only safe for people who already have wealth. If you're starting from zero, one bad move can put you in a hole you never climb out of. The system rewards those who can afford to take risk and punishes those who can't. That's not a moral judgment, it's just how the math works. Here's what nobody tells you. The equation, borrow low, earn high, is getting harder to execute. Interest rates have climbed. The 3% mortgages of 2020 are gone. Now you're borrowing at 7 or 8%. Asset prices have soared. That apartment building Alex bought for $3 million is now worth $4.5 million, but rents haven't doubled. The spread is tighter. You can still make it work, but the margin for error is smaller. And when the margin shrinks, leverage becomes more dangerous. A 2% spread can disappear overnight if rates tick up or rents tick down.
This is the part that gets left out of the Instagram posts and the YouTube thumbnails. Leverage works beautifully in hindsight. In real time, it's stressful. You're constantly monitoring rates, vacancy, market conditions. One miscalculation and you're underwater. The people who win with leverage aren't gamblers. They're obsessive. They run the numbers 100 times. They plan for worst-case scenarios. They don't just ask, what happens if things go right? They ask, what happens if everything goes wrong at once?
So can debt make you rich? Yes, if you borrow at 6 and earn at 12, if the asset appreciates, if rates stay favorable, if you have reserves, if you can wait, if the market doesn't collapse. That's a lot of ifs. But the people who figure out how to line up those ifs don't just get rich, they get generational wealth. They buy time, they buy freedom. They stop trading hours for dollars and start trading other people's money for equity. The equation is simple, executing it is not. Alex still owns that building. It's worth $4.5 million now. He's refinanced twice, pulled out another $200,000, bought 2 more properties with it. He's not smarter than you, he just understood the equation, and he was willing to live with the risk. The question isn't whether debt can make you rich. The question is whether you can make the equation work, and whether you're willing to bet everything on the answer. If this shifted how you think about money, hit subscribe. Drop a comment with the riskiest financial move you've ever made. And if you think leverage is genius or insane, let me know. I read every single one.